Hey guys, good afternoon and welcome to Your Stocks. I'm Pavitra. With me is Ekta as always, and this is a good looking screen that we have. Ever since the open, it has only picked up, right? So right now it's 19,420 on the index. We're at the high point of the day with a near 0.9% gain. Mid caps, small caps, completely in step. The small caps are actually up over 1%. And the good news is that the banks, which were lagging earlier in the morning, have also caught up really well. It's actually up over 1% in the banking pack right now. So definitely a good way for us to be ending the week or starting the month.
Absolutely, Pavitra. A great way to start the weekend as well, I'm sure, for a lot of retail traders. We have the mid-cap index, which is up 2.5% on a week-to-date basis. You mentioned the small-cap index, which has rallied around 3.5% plus already on a week-to-date basis. So definitely a lot of traction coming in within the broader markets and specific stocks. So that's what the show is about. In the next 30-odd minutes, we're going to be answering a lot of your stock-specific queries. We have Astha Jain, who's a research analyst at Hem Securities, joining in to answer all of your fundamental questions. We have Kush Bohra, founder of kushbohra.com, to answer all of your technical questions. Astha as well as Kush, welcome to the show. Let's get to the first question then. We have Dinesh Rai, who writes to us from Mumbai, holds 100 shares of Wipro, which is bought at around 257 odd rupees. So sitting on a profit at this point in time. He's a long-term investor, wants to know what to do, whether he should book his profits or whether he should stay invested. Well, Kush, let's start this one with you. What would you recommend on the technicals of Wipro? Do you see further upside?
Hi guys, first off, thanks for having me on the show. Well, definitely the stock's actually placed, pretty nicely. If you look at the long-term averages, it's placed at its support zone and recovering. The only hitch is that, Wipro doesn't really fall on our radar as in one of the top picks in the large cap names. That's the only hitch, but that bias aside, I would say if the view is long term, which the gentleman's already mentioned that it's not a bad idea to accumulate some more at these levels, because the stock's seen a very sharp fall from about 700 odd levels, and now it's beginning to revive. So if Wipro is the stock they want to stick to, then not an issue. It's a good idea to add some more at current levels as well. I won't rule out a move to 500 kind of odd levels in the coming months time, seeing how the entire IT pack is reviving.
Okay, I could see a move to around 500. Astha, what do you think about this one? Would you agree with Kush that it's okay to remain invested in this one and you could see further gains?
Good afternoon, Pavitra, and good afternoon, everyone over there. So yes, even I agree with Kush, although my price targets are a little bit different from his. Actually, we are recommending hold on the stock with a price target of around 450 at the initial level. So Wipro is looking good to us, and today also we have seen a strong rally in all the IT stocks. Now, what makes the stock, good or attractive at this point of time is, first of all, they have announced $1 billion of investments in the AI. So that is looking good to us. In fact, whatever results they have announced, the margins were good due to the good utilizations level, reduction in the fixed cost, etc. So in the long term, I think the way the Wipro has presented number in Q1 of FY24, I think that will be a good story for the long term also, and that's why we are recommending hold on this stock. Although the price target is set at around rupees 450 at the initial level, and maybe it is subject to further upgrades in case if Q2 FY24 will be a strong quarter for the company. That only the result will show.
Okay, got that. That is on Wipro. We have a query coming in now from on a company from the mid-cap IT space. So Mahi writes to us from Noida. She holds 50 shares of Mastech, bought at 1,500. So making good money on this one. Mastech is currently over 2,300. She's a medium-term investor and wants to know whether this is a good time to book her profits or should she hold for a little bit longer. Astha, this stock has done very well, in just the past 6 months or so, it's up 40%. We were also speaking with the management just earlier this week, and they're saying that they are expecting faster deal closures than they've seen in the past few quarters. Do you think from a medium-term perspective, it's a good idea to hold this one and, perhaps you could see more?
Yes, I think so, because even what management was very much optimistic about is their deals only. In fact, in the America and the US also, they have signed certain deals, and UK is a strong market for them because they have tie-up with the governments over there. So I think all these, deal wins are really making this stock an attractive one right now to hold. So I think this stock has a potential to move further, and it can touch the level of 2800 to 2850 on the basis of what fundamentals are saying right now, the strong deal wins as well as the strong, the quarter gone by. So I think we are positive on the mid-size IT companies in which Mastech is looking good to us. Yes, a hold from my side. Price target can be set at around rupees 2800 to 2850 at the initial levels.
Okay, well, Mastech is one of the stocks which has done very well. Kush, technically then what would you recommend?
I agree with Astha. We do see positional on a positional basis levels of about 2550, even 2800. In the coming months, if the time horizon is for a few months. And as Pavitra was mentioning, the stock's actually done rather well. So why not ride the wave? The investors done rather well to hold on to the profits. Why not add some more? Just the word of caution would be keep a trailing stop loss at about 2150 in case the stock was to slip from these levels. He'd still lock in some profits. So the only addition would be an addition of trailing stop loss at 2150. Otherwise, ride the wave.
Okay, all right. So that's on Mastech, given returns of around 40% plus in just the past couple of months. Let's get to another query now. We have Hussain Karachiwala, who writes to us from Ahmedabad, holds 30 shares of IOC, which is bought at around 50 odd rupees, so sitting on a marginal profit there. And we do have 500 shares of IDFC, which Hussain has bought at around IDFC First Bank, which is bought at around 49 rupees. So he's a medium-term investor, wants to know what are the future prospects of both of these stocks that he's invested in. Well, Astha, what would you recommend on both of them?
Okay, so talking about IOC, I think one should book partial profit in that counter, because although we have seen the results were good and everything is going well, but we really need to see how the crude price behave in the long term, because if the crude price will remain stable, then only they will help the company in garnering strong margins. So that really needs to be seen the way, right now we have seen the volatility in the crude price, especially in this quarter, in the current quarter of the quarter 2 of FY24. So how that will be turning up into the financials, that really need to be seen. And although I think the investor is already sitting on strong profits, so why not book some profits here? So I suggest to book some profits at this point of time and hold remaining stock. Now, talking about IDFC First Bank, IDFC First Bank is really looking good to us. Even if some dips can be seen, I think we can go and buy more. So my idea here is for the IDFC First Bank is buying on dips as well as hold at the present level with the price target of 110. So now if I talk about this bank, the loan growth is really very strong. In fact, they have seen the strong jump in their deposits also, and the improvement in their NPAs also. So this is the bank which has really outperformed its peers when we see it and as a result wise. So I think IDFC First Bank is looking good to us. Hold is recommended with the price target of 110. And if some dips can be seen, then buying for the new entry is also recommended.
Okay, got that. By the way, IDFC First Bank is up around 4% from the lows today after that big block in the morning. But Kush, coming on both of these names, IOC and IDFC First Bank. IOC, of course, this week has not been so good because of that cylinder price cut which was announced earlier in the week. But on a technical basis, how are both of these looking?
Pavitra, I think this is one of those days where it seems like Astha and I have exchanged notes, but I can assure you, like in the past, we haven't, because IOC is an exit from my side as well. She's recommended a partial book profit, but I would suggest an exit. The stock's taken the turn for the worse, at least for now. So I would suggest, because the profit's quite handsome on this one, take some money home. There are plenty of other avenues where, we still see momentum. So IOC is an exit from my end. IDFC First Bank, very similar view. Hold on from about a year's perspective, or maybe a little less than that. Same target, 110. So it's definitely a hold and add on dips.
Okay, well, maybe great minds think alike as well, Kush and Astha. Maybe you don't need to exchange notes for that. But definitely that's the word coming in on both of those counters. But we have another query. We have Mangesh, who writes to us from Mumbai. He holds 70 shares of Adani Wilmar India, which he's bought at around 306 rupees, sitting on a profit. He's a medium-term investor, wants to know what to do with this particular counter, whether he would hold or whether he should hold or exit at these current levels. Well, today it's a little lower. It's down around 1.5% as we speak. Buy price is 306. Do you think that there's further upside technically, Kush?
Well, the stock's been in a bit of a downtrend. I mean, bit is actually an understatement. From 800 odd levels for the last, good part of 1 year. The saving grace is that the buying price is, fairly low, which is 306. Now, looking at the kind of downturn that the stock has been in and no signs of revival at all, my suggestion would be to exit. As I said, the good thing is the buying price is low, so he'll still be exiting in profits because the stock's been in a bit of a downtrend. So Adani Wilmar is a very clear exit from my side.
Okay, very clear exit. Astha, what about you? Do you agree with Kush on this one as well?
Yes, even I do agree. Now, the whole point is that the results they have shown in the quarter gone by were not good. I mean, the profitability was impacted. That was mainly due to, macro headwind and basically due to the fall in the edible oil prices. Now, the management is positive, but we really need to see how the things will turn up. Although their food business is doing good, we have seen some sort of volume growth over there. But I really need to see how, the other segments will going to perform going ahead. So, and this is the only one of the reasons that he's already sitting on good profits. So I think one should book at least partial profit and then see how the things turn out in the long term. So my idea here is to book partial profit just because he's seeing some sort of profits, and the fundamentals are really, we really need to wait for that. So book partial profit and keep remaining in the holding, and let's see how the results turn out. So here the idea is book partial profit.
Okay, got that. That is on Adani Wilmar. The next query comes in from Venkat, who's written in from Hyderabad. Now, he holds 40 shares of Endurance Technologies, which he's bought at 625. So, good profit coming in over there, and he's definitely held on for a while. He's saying he's a short-term investor now, and he wants to know whether he should take money off the table or he should stay invested. Sir, this is a company that posted a very strong set of Q1 earnings as well. The stock, of course, reflecting that. And they're going big in this EV space, right? Do you think that it is advisable, even from a short-term perspective, to stay invested?
Yes, they are going good in the EV space, especially their alliance with the Maxwell is really helping them. And in fact, they have garnered strong orders of around 307 crore, and that is not from the Bajaj Auto. So that is also looking good because the order pipeline is good, they are expanding into the EV space also. So I think, yes, Endurance Technologies is looking good to us. So we are recommending hold on the stock. Price target can be set at around 1750 to 1800 levels.
Okay. Well, Kush, any recommendations on this one?
I suppose everyone should be a short-term trader as he is, because the last time around Endurance Tech was at about 625 odd levels. Was a couple of years ago. So, I think the time horizons probably changed a little since then. But no, overall, the setup is quite positive. The stock's been in a momentum. I would suggest hold on. No reason to sell unless, he really needs the money. So keep a trailing stop loss at about 1575 odd levels. Hold for targets of 1800.
Okay, all right. So that's on Endurance Technologies. Well, we need to take a short break with the news that the markets are definitely in fine fettle. We have the Bank Nifty, which is really picking up pace as of now, and to fathom that the Bank Nifty was absolutely flat and now outperforming the Nifty, the mid-cap index as well as the sensex is something. We'll take a break and be back. Welcome back. Well, it's turning out to be a session where a lot of the broader market stocks are also seeing a good amount of volume action. So on the first day of a new series, it's actually not that quiet in terms of volume as well as price action. Case in point would be something like a Vodafone Idea, where that stock is up around 10.5% at this point in time. It's gained around 15% this week and 26% this year. And we have BHEL, which has done well today as well. So that stock is up around 11% as we speak. Strong amount of volumes being generated on BHEL, which has rallied around 28% on a week-to-date basis. Well, let's get in another query now. We have Dilnaz Milkani, who writes to us from Chennai. She holds 300 shares of GMR Airports Infrastructure, which is purchased at around 36.5 rupees. So she's sitting on a good profit there. Long-term investor, and asks if she can hold the stock for another 5 years. Well, do you think that this is a multi-bagger, Astha? What would you recommend?
So for another 5 years, if the horizon is so long, then definitely it's a hold. And but I can give the initial level targets, because working for the 5 years is really, a little tough at this moment of a time. So initially, what we are expecting this counter is to perform in this stock price movement is at around 68 to 71 levels. We are setting our price target. Now the reasons behind it. First of all, they operate two airports, basically one in the Delhi and Hyderabad, and the traffic, we have seen a strong jump in the traffic also there, somewhere at around 18% to 24% respectively in both these airports. Even the international traffic grew at about 20%. So that is really showing the sign of confidence in the company. New terminals are also being commissioned. So I think, things are really looking favorable for this company, and this company is looking strong in the long-term perspective. However, at the initial level, targets can be set at around 70 rupees or 71.
Okay, Kush, what about you? I mean, GMR Airports, I was just looking at it, is up 22% in this 1 month. If I look at a 6-month chart, it's up over 60%. Do you think from this kind of a long perspective, you would recommend a hold?
Absolutely, but I concur with something that Astha said. That 5 years is a very long time frame to make a view on. So the way at least I would play it is have my trailing stop losses in place. The stock's actually at an all-time high level. No reason to suggest that there's a change of trend, or there is even on a multi-year basis there isn't anything suggesting that this trend is perhaps going to get disturbed. But yes, from that kind of a horizon, keep trailing stop loss in place, at whatever level is comfortable. But overall, the setup looks positive, and no worries in holding on for some time as well.
Okay, got that. Both of our guests positive on GMR for now. With that, let's move on to our next query. We have Bhavik Joshi, who writes in from Hyderabad. Now, he holds 150 shares of Trident, which he bought at around 53 rupees. Trident is currently at around 38, so he is seeing a loss on this one. And he's asking whether he should hold or sell. He's a medium-term kind of investor, and wants to know whether he should book his loss at this level or not. Kush, what would you recommend on this one? He's willing to stay invested only for around a medium term. Do you think if he stays put for that kind of time, he could make back some of this money?
That's a possibility. And if you would have asked me this question, let's say about 2 weeks ago, then perhaps my view would have been exit. But if I look at the last 2 weeks data, there's been a very clear volume spike, and the stock's actually broken above a lot of resistance zones. So it looks like it's entering into a new fresh uptrend. Even then, my suggestion would be to keep a trailing stop loss at about 32 odd levels, and ride this momentum. Keep your trailing stop losses moving as as the stock goes higher. Although 58 is quite distant, quite some distance away, I would suggest exiting this stock step by step at levels of 48, and then perhaps again at 55, 58 kind of levels. So exit partially, but since the stock is showing first signs of revival, I would suggest hold on to it. He could perhaps see some kind of reduction in the losses that he's sitting at right now.
Okay, so that's on Trident. Let's get in another query now. We have Karishma, who writes to us from Surat, who holds 50 shares of Rainbow Medical, which I assume is Rainbow Children's Medicare, which he's bought at around 775 rupees. So she's sitting on a profit on that one. She's a medium-term investor, wants to know the future prospects of her investments. Well, Astha, hospitals have been doing fantastically well. If you look at Rainbow also, it's rallied significantly from the time it listed in May of 2022. So what would you recommend on Rainbow? Do you think that that's just a hold, considering the kind of interest that a lot of these healthcare companies are seeing?
Yes, it's a hold, but a partial hold, because what I can see is that she is having a strong profits right now. So why not to book some profits? So right now I'm recommending partial hold and partial booking profit. So now if she will be holding, so I think then the price target can be set at around 1180 odd level. Now talking about Rainbow, definitely this is looking very strong to us. The average length of a stay, a key parameter for any hospital. So we have seen that average length of stay, the lower it is, good for the hospital, right? So we have seen a fall in their average length of stay. What is concerning is their average revenue per occupied bed, and I think that has shown some sort of fall. That is at around 56,000 odd level right now. It is sitting at, so I mean that is showing some sort of a fall as compared to the last year, but average length of stay is looking good. Occupancy levels are also okay. So I think it is a mixed set of numbers which they have presented. On the basis of that, I'm recommending partial hold and partially booking profit.
Okay, partial hold for now on Rainbow Medicare. Kush, what about you? How do you look at this one?
For me, very clear hold. The stock's actually done well. It's gone into a consolidation zone, but even that is with a very clear positive bias. Nothing suggesting that, the stock is perhaps in for any kind of a downturn. So I would suggest hold on. If time isn't really too much of a concern, then, I see the stock, going to levels of 1200 rather, the one that it touched recently, but even higher from there. So a very clear hold from my side on Rainbow Children's Medicare. In fact, I've recommended this stock, as a part of our advisory service a couple of times. So yeah, still hold.
Okay, all right, still hold. That's on Rainbow Medicare. Kush as well as Astha, we're going to thank you on that note. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining in and taking us through all of those queries. We need to wrap up on the show with the news that the markets are doing fantastically well. We have the mid-cap index, which is up around 0.8%. The bank nifty, which is at the high point of the day, up around 1.3%. We have the nifty, which has scaled above 19,450 as we speak. That's all the time that we have. But do remember to email us your questions and we will be addressing them with our experts. Stay tuned. Closing bell up next.